Hello. We're going to start talking about the pellet racking. The pellet racking doesn't only take pellets, but it's called like that as a name. You can have the frame and the beams, and you just put a pellet on top of it. Or else you can put a plain shelf on top of it too and fill up with boxes. Okay? So this is what we call the heavy duty. Normally, pellet racking comes in various sizes. The frame, and when I say frame, when it's complete, it's a frame. On its own, this single piece of metal here is called an upright. But when it's complete with the zigzag, as you can see, that's a frame. This piece you're seeing here, it's an upright. Okay, so upright, you see various dimensions, 5 meters, 2 meters, 3 meters, okay? Upright, complete frame. These parts, the spare parts, are the diagonals. So you have diagonal, and the straight one on top is the horizontal. Alright? When you have a frame, you always have a horizontal at the bottom, a horizontal at the top, and in between the diagonals. On the software, you'll find both the parts alone, if you need, because sometimes people damage them, but you'll find even what we call complete frame. So this one is called Metalsistem Super Build Complete Frame. Okay? Now this can come 2 meters, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5. There isn't a real limit. Our limit is the transportation. So the maximum you can get is 12 meters. Okay? Now, depending on the thickness that you buy it, it will take a bigger load. Okay, so you check what you have on the software, and if it says it's 1.5 millimeter, you know that this one can take 6 tons, 8 tons. You check the description in our catalog. Okay, each pair, each frame. So this one would be 6 tons or 8 tons. The other one will be the same, and so on. Okay, now beams. Beams, there are different dimensions. They all take the shelf. So the same beam today can be for a pellet. Tomorrow it can be for the shelf. Okay, I don't have a shelf here, but you will see it even in the catalog. So if you want to put boxes without using a pellet, you can. Okay, and this will come on top. Again, you have dimensions. So the dimensions of the beams in height and in depth, and then gauge the thickness. You see here, you have this one embossed. This code will tell you how much it takes as a load. But as a standard, if you have a beam of 2.7 meters, this one is bigger, this one is 3, but if you have of 2.7 meters, okay, 2.7 meters, you can fit 3 Euro pellets on them, and the Euro pellet is 80 centimeters by 120, so 80 wide, 120 deep, okay, because these are 1 meter deep. So when you put a pellet, you have a little bit outside, and a little bit outside on the other side, at the back. So you put 3 pellets, and we calculate with our dimension, the dimension we bring, we calculate that each pellet you can put 1 ton, 1,000 kilos. So on every pair of beams, you can have 3,000 kilos. Now the reality is that you can have them smaller and take less load, or bigger, take more load. But on average, you can calculate 3 pellets, 3 tons. Okay? Now, when you're talking about these beams can come in 1 meter 20, 1 meter 80, to 20, to 40, to 70, 3 meters, 330, and 360. That is 3.6 meters is roughly speaking the largest dimension. The most common are the 2.7, the extremely most common beam. After that, you can have the 3 meters, 3.3 or 3.6. Why? 2.7, 3 Euro pellets fit easily. But if you have American pellet, like behind you, you're going to have a pellet that is 1 meter or 1 meter 20, then you need to have a wider. So, I give an example. If you have pellets of 1 meter, you're going to take or the beam of 3.3 meters, so you have 1 meter, 1 meter, 1 meter, and you have extra space. Because on this type of shelving, you never manage to put the pellet exact. So you can't say I have 3 pellets of 1 meter, I take the 3 meters, it won't fit. Because the pellet is a bit out, is a bit in. You see, like this is a bit out of the pellet. This is your pellet, but this is a bit out. So you'll never match the same thing. Same thing behind you. This one, for example, is 120. It's always a bit outside from the side, so you need clearance. So if your pellet is like this size, this is American size, this pellet is 1 meter, you can choose the 3.3 meter or the 3.6 meter, depending how much extra space you would like to have. Okay?
And this is because of the horizontals.
No, the horizontal or the diagonal is the depth of the frame. Your frame for a pellet, your frame must be 1 meter deep for a pellet. Same frames, we can have it 60 or 80 if you're putting the shelf on top. But for a pellet, to fit a pellet on it, like you're seeing there and everywhere, you need it 1 meter deep. So you have 10 centimeters clear on the front and 10 on the back. That will be resting on this. Okay, so that is with the frame. Now, if you opt for the 3 meter 60, you can put 3 pellets of 1 meter, the American pellets, or else 4 pellets Euro of 80, and you still have extra space. Okay, so you can start from the floor and then you go up. Right now we're doing a warehouse where he wants floor, middle, and top. So I have level and level. It's 3 level of pellets, but 2 level of beams because the first one's on the floor. In this particular case, we have another level here because we are using a narrow aisle stacker. The lifter here, since the corridor is very narrow, the lifter cannot rotate. So we come in with an electric stacker and we put it inside because it has 2 extra feet at the bottom. In that case, we need the beams to be there. The feet go inside, and wherever it is, I can take it. Now, if you are a warehouse with all the pellets the same dimension, always same space, same everything, you can even do it upward. Because this one is only for use with the stacker, and the stacker has extra feet at the bottom. So the feet have to go in, and you go up and down wherever you want. But if you're using same pellets, so you're sure this one is here, this one is here, this one is here, in line, you can use it without this beam. Because the stacker will go inside, and you can go up anyway and take them. Since our pellets change all the time, I might have this one in one type, on top a different type. So for flexibility, we prefer to add an additional beam. Doing that, we have no limitations of what we're doing under, middle, or top. You have full flexibility. Understand?
And the capacity fall under the uprights, right?
What?
The capacity will be calculated based upon the uprights.
Well, the capacity of the uprights is very high. So the lowest will be 6 tons, and then 8 tons, 12 tons, 18 tons, and so on. You will rarely, I'm not saying it's impossible, but rarely go even close to their limit. The most important, even if it's important, it is important, always you calculate, but the most important is the beam. If the client wants to have 4 pellets, Euro pellets of 1 ton, then you need to have a very big beam because you need 3 meters 60 wide, and this one is not enough. You have to go deeper like this, wider, and the material must be thicker. You're gonna sell that once in a year if you sell it. Most common is 3.6, 3.3, 3 meters, or 2.7. But anyway, on the 3.6 they put less than 4 tons, always in that region of the 3 tons, roughly speaking. Obviously, you can ask me on a 1 by 1 basis.
So for like for a 3 meter long, what's this part called again? A 3 meter long beam can carry a maximum of 3 ton to 4 tons, somewhere in between.
3 ton.
3 ton.
In reality, it will be 3.2 tons, 2.98 tons. They're very close. But in your mind, if you really need to be precise, in your mind, calculate 3 tons. What we bring as stock. In reality, you can have varies because I can have 3.6 small like this. But then my products are pillows. So I can have it 1 ton, I don't care.
Mhm.
You understand? But since my products vary from one product to another, I can have very heavy metal like this, or I can have plastic like that behind it. So I need to have full flexibility because things change in this warehouse. If you deal only in pillows, then you can get the lightest version and have 1 ton on 3.6 meters. So there is a lot of variations. When you go on the catalog and the prices, you're going to see that the same 2.7 meters can take from 1 ton to 4 tons or more. The same for the 3 meters, 3.6. You know, it's basic like physics. The longer the span, the bigger your beam has to be. All right, but what we stock, mostly speaking, what we stock always takes 1 ton per pellet. All right, but if you look at the catalog, you can check and you can see. Okay. Mela. Safety. Safety always comes first. It's a warehouse, so we must make sure that the people work in safety. You are working here today, and you might be very attentive on how you're loading, but you don't know who's working tomorrow. So if somebody comes and by mistake, instead of catching the pellet like this, or the pellet, he hits this one without the safety pin, this is just clipped on. You know, you chick and down, chick and down. So we insert in here, this round circle, we insert a pin. It's called the safety pin. With that one, it's locked. It's a simple pin in and out. Okay, it's not showing here, but there is. Okay, that you can put it in, and even if you lift the lifter, this will not come out. It is stuck in place. Okay. Without it right now, if I come with the lifter and I hit the front one, all this falls on the floor. So it's very important to have it. Okay. We didn't put it, I don't know why, but yes, it's important to have it. So please inform our people to install it on our store for safety reasons.
And that's
Okay.
always 2 per beam. It's a 1 and 2.
One on the left and one on the right.
2 per beam.
Okay, front and back.
Exactly. Per
So
beam.
it's not just because for people to see that you made the safety pin and you're covered.
Mm.
It's really for safety. So you should have on every level, you need to have 4. Left, right on the front, left, right at the back. It's a small pin with a twist like that. You just put it in and it falls down, so it cannot come out by mistake.
Okay, I think
Comes in and down. All right, it's called the safety pin. So as you can see, that is where you start with the first frame of the warehouse, and then when you continue the same frame, you can load it from 2 sides. Now, to be correct, there are 2 different types of safety pins. I am mistaken, I told you they don't have pins, but my bad. There are 2 types of safety pins. There is the one that comes in and slots down.
And
If I find it, I show you. This is the second pin. If you look at it, this pin
okay.
is a new pin that locks. So it's in there and in here.
Okay.
It said you will lock. Okay, so my bad. They have the pins.
Dual pin.
You don't need to have 2 frames because you have the slots on 2 sides, so you can use 2 sides.
You can continue.
Not necessarily, they have to be at the same level. So this, in this case, it's at the same exact level, but you can have one here, one there, depending on what you want. Flexibility and modularity is key. That's why we're not using any more welded shelving like in the past, because you have the full flexibility of adjusting up and down at your commodity and leisure. Okay, all you need ideally for this job would be a rubber hammer. You put it in place, tum, and you put it already in place. It's very quickly and very, very fast to install. Okay, so super build, basically you know everything, because the difference is how big the beam is, how tall the frame is. There is no rocket science about it. You have the dimensions and you need to see the load. So when talking about storage, always ask the client about the load. What are you going to put on it? how much weight do you have. Okay, I recommend that on every quotation that you do, you tell the client that you need to put a certification. So at least all the information related to the product, they have a certificate on site and it's put there during the installation. Right
who will
now,
give the certification?
you saw in the card there were those orange papers. Those are certificates.
Okay.
One client, he has about already 80 because he has very big store from us. So when we sell it, in theory, you need to have, but the very, 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 very basic is one certificate for the warehouse, if it's a small warehouse. That is the very lowest end. But in reality, OHSA, that is the Health and Safety Authority, will ask you for every run of shelving to put a certificate. So, what do I mean by run? In this particular case, these are attached to each other. So from here, till down there, since they are all stuck to each other, this is one run. All this, one certificate is enough. On this side, you're seeing that I have one run here. And the separate run is independent. You see the frames are separate? Here. So on this side, you would be required, if you really have to go by the book, to have one certificate for this and one certificate for this. Okay?
And how much does the certificate cost?
You have the costs on the software, depending the size. Now, as a personal choice, I like to use the A3 size when we're talking about pallet racking, because they're big shelving, so it's good that it's big in your face so you see it. And when you're talking about the Super 1 to 3, so the small units there, okay, then I like to use as much as possible A5 or A4. Most common is the A4, you know, but if you're using a very small depth shelving for the Super 1 to 3, you can go A5 too. Okay, there isn't a law that specifies the exact dimension of the certificate. It must be visible, it must be in your face, so the paper cannot tell you, I didn't see it, you know, if it's there, you saw it.
And does it require like an annual testing or something? Someone have to do the inspection at a yearly round?
So, in this particular case, I went and made an inspection for this client because they are old shelving. And where I saw damage, I thought, this is not certified, you have to replace. But if we make the installation like we're doing today, we're doing in Honda, we're making installation for more than one floor, who's making the installation can actually fix the certificate. So I would recommend, if you have a Carrari or you have a Salvo Green or this or that, you include in the quotation the certificates. All right? If the client says, I don't care, I don't want them, the client signs the document where he is refusing to purchase the certificate. But you cover yourself that you offered it to him. Obviously, you cannot offer it for free because everything comes at a cost. But you offered it. If the client says, I don't care, I don't want it, it's his problem. We cannot force him. But then OHSA will force him in the future when they go make an inspection. So I would just tell you, the guys are going there, they're making the installation, put it in. All right? Now, on paper, one certificate for every run. If there's, because I don't want to spend an extra 20 euros, you make one for the whole warehouse, but you get it in writing that he told you like that. In theory, every run, now this run of shelving can be 1,000 meters. Doesn't make a difference. One certificate. But if that 1,000 meters is divided into 5 separate units, then you need 5. Okay? That's the only real rule. Any questions? So this brand is called Metalsistem, and this product is called Pallet Racking, with the specific name of this brand, Super Build. During the installation, the pallet racking is bolted to the floor, because with the lifter you can have sudden movements. If you have sudden movements, you can move it off its center and not have enough space where to put the pallet. Okay? As regards to pallet racking, your only variations are how high, weight load, and how wide. what type of pellets or boxes you want to load on it, but it is the heavy duty version. There are many types of shelving, but the most common are the pellet racking and the 1 to 3 system, so super build and 1 to 3, so heavy duty and light duty. There are many other types. There's the mobile shelving. I mentioned cantilever. You know what a cantilever is?
The one which can move to the
No.
front.
Cantilever. Look at me. You see my back? My back is the frame. My hands
It's the
are the
cantilever.
beams. Cantilever. If you put too much weight, you drop me to the front. But if on the front, in this case, I have another support like this, and you put weight, you're not going to drop me because I have support. This is cantilever. The cantilever, if you can see here, the material is much thicker. Okay, you have the frame at the back, the leg at the back, the red ones, and the beams on the front. What is the advantage? Where in pellet racking you are limited by a specific length from left to right, as I told you, 120, 180 to 40 to 70, 3 meters, 3.6 meters, and so on. Cantilever, no. You can continue, and if you see, there's no support on the front. So if I have this one of 5 meters, you see, 5 meters. On top I put 2 meters. On the side I put 3 meters. Below I have 3.5. Whatever you want, you can put, because it's recommended for long items. So loads where you have a length. Okay, where you have a length, you use these. You can use for boxes too, if you need, because this same principle, the same shelving, I can put a long shelf on it and put boxes with longer boxes or whatever you want. Okay, you don't have obstructions. In this case, you don't have a side. You have a back, and in fact, you see how big the back is, but you don't have a side. So we put all the small items on the pellet racking, all the very long items on the cantilever.
There's a limit of how much outwards you can come with the beam.
There is always a limit for everything.
Yes.
However, height, there is a limit too. The higher you go, the bigger the leg. Okay, the beams can be this size and even bigger depending the weight you want, and they can be narrower, so shorter inside, or longer. Always consider that whatever you want, they can do most of the times, but there are limitations. Okay, because you can tell them I want this to be 3 meters out because I have very light cushions. Okay, they need to know. So this one most of the times is custom, where this one is standard and we keep super build in stock all the time, every dimension you want. This one comes to order. One, because it's not cheap, and two, I need to know how deep you want it, how many beams you want, how many legs you want, and they will calculate on the load you requested. You tell them I'm going to load this or I'm going to load that on what you request. They will decide the distance between one and the other leg, because they will get the weight load, the strength from the distance. So if you see this and this, and you see this and this, they are not the same. For example, if you come here on the cantilever, you see how wide this is? Okay? Now if you see this, you see how
It's
small it
shorter.
is? So they will calculate on what you're going to load or what you think you're going to load, and they will offer to you what you require. Okay?
Let's go back then.
So this section is all Super 1 to 3. Again, we're the same brand, so we're talking Metalsistem. Metalsistem is a global company based in Italy. Okay? The advantage, it is a relatively, let's so call it light duty system. You can start from 200 kilos per single shelf and go all the way up to 800 kilos if you want. What are the variations? The variations are the type of beam thickness that you use. Again, here, the sheet metal used here from the coil is very, very thin. But the difference is how many times they twist them and how many times they replicate the same thing. So, Here you're seeing 150 S1. 150 being the length, S1 is the load it can take. So you go on S1, 150, and it will tell you what you can load on it. Okay? In this case, you have 90 S1. But then next to it, you're seeing that you have 105 S0. So the S0 can take less load than the S1. Okay? Then you have even maybe other items like S2
That's so good.
Yeah.
or S3. You see, here I'm saying 120 S2, for example. 120 S2 will take those 50 kilos more. 120 S3 will take another extra 50 kilos. Because they get the same beam and they add another sheet. So to give you an example,
Add another sheet.
it's rolled. So to give you an example, if you get one piece of paper, can you cut it?
Yes.
Easy. That is S0, the lightest version. If you get 20 pieces of paper, let's make it 10. 10 pieces of paper. Can you still cut it?
Maybe with a scissor. Maybe.
No, with your hand, 10
No.
papers you can. 10 papers you can.
7, right?
Hmm?
No, it's for folding.
Normal
If
paper.
you're folding the maximum
Normal
7.
paper, if you get 10 and you cut them like that, you can. Is it as easy as the one paper? No, because it's stronger. So from S0, you went to S1. Then I give you 20 papers. It is stronger. Can you cut it? You will manage, but now it's starting to become a bit more difficult. Then you go to S3. S3 is equivalent to your yellow pages. You know the yellow book, yellow pages? Can you cut it, that whole book? Impossible. Right? That's the difference. So S0, S1, S2, S3. Is it enough? It depends on your requirements. So S0, S1, S2, S3, if I give you all of them at the same length, so all of them of 150, you will not notice the difference because visually, in your eyes, same height, same width. The difference is, if you keep them in your hand, the weight. You will notice that one is 100 grams, one is 150 grams, one is 200 grams, one is 250 grams. So the weight, you'll notice the difference. Okay? But if you have to really go into detail, you come to the side and you see how many bends there are. You'll see a lot of extra bends. All right? That's from where the weight, because it's the same metal, same everything, is just bent more. Okay? So the beams are what take the weight primarily. The sheets are very small, but that's how it's done. And this is the secret of Metalsistem. Metalsistem managed. 90 S0, S1, S2, or S3, they're all the same. Then you have the SG.
Okay.
So you have SG1, SG2, SG3. That is where I told you start going then in the 400, 500, 600 kilos. Okay? But when you see it, it's not this small, it is bigger. It is something like this. So visually, you're going to see that the material is thicker and the height is bigger. Those would be the SG version.
That's going to be in between the heavy duty one and
Yes.
in between
Yes.
the other one.
You're still using the same light duty frame, everything light duty, but the actual shelf became more heavy duty. It's a stronger option for it. Did we ever use it? Very little. Now just for you to see what an SG looks like, you see up there. You see those beams? That pellet? Those are SG. They fix to the same system, the 1 to 3 system, okay? But those are the SG. I don't remember which one it is, if SG1 or 2 or 3, but that's the SG. So it's going to fit to the 1 to 3 system, all right? Not to the pellet racking. Okay? Whereas here you're going to see a thickness of 60 centimeters. Okay? Again, same concept.
Now depth, right?
I said thickness? Sorry, depth. The depth. Upright,
Mhm.
diagonal, horizontal. Lower cap, and on top you have the upper cap. Now, with this system, but even with that system, you can have mezzanine. This is the mezzanine, where we're walking on the floor here, but we can walk even up there. It's not ready, it's not complete, because we start but never finish, but you can have a mezzanine where you can walk above. Okay? Now, this one comes normally 1 meter 48, 1 meter 83, 1 meter 98. Don't ask me, but it's like that. Then 250, 3, 350, 4, 450, 5, and so on. Okay? But the first few dimensions are strange dimensions. Then they go every 50. The thickness, the depth, 32 in this case, 40, 50, 60, now there is 70 and 80. So they made another dimension. We get them all. The lengths, they have 60, 90, 105, 120, always centimeters, 135, 150, 180. Now, but we don't have it, they even invented the 2 meters, 220, 240, and 270. But to get those dimensions, then you go for pellet trekking. So we stuck to our limit 1 meter 80, from 60 all the way up. Depending on the size of the warehouse, you can mix and match any dimension you want. Any. Depending on the size of the boxes, because the client might have boxes of 40, so he wants to put 3 next to each other, and tells you give me 120 unit. So he fits his boxes. So whatever she wants, we can do. Now, before I showed you the modular containers takes the same type of beam. Where a shelf has the beam at the same level, beam and beam, the modular container has a beam here and a beam and notch further up, because it's a container. Okay? And then with the container you have the divider, so you choose how much to divide the unit. You can put a shelf every 2.5 centimeters, so every one of this you can put a shelf. So there's no limit. You can have 4, from here to here you can have 4, 3, 2, 1, or even 20. It depends what you're putting. If you're putting paper and you want to put between them, you can. Okay, it depends on what you want. This system, not even the Chinese managed to copy, because they have a patent. Alright? So the price of Metalsistem, made in Italy, not China, not India, no other country managed to replicate it. They make similar, but even if it's similar, or they're more expensive or they take less load. So with these specifications, so galvanized, easy to install with no bolts. You have 0 bolts on this one. It's all clip-in, all clip-in. The weight load they take, the price it's sold for, the rapidity of installation, nobody managed to come close to them. Nobody. Chinese, Indian, anything, nobody managed. And you tell, but made in Italy is expensive. That's why they made a patent. So to take that advantage of, if you copy me, I sue you for hundreds of millions. You know, so nobody dares. So this product in particular, you have an exaggerated amount of different accessories you can use. Anything, drawers, hanging, dividers, anything you can possibly imagine, for home, for warehouse, for office, they have it. Even for shops. So if you check the catalog, you're gonna see, and you make Super 123 on Google, you're gonna find it at home, you can find it in shops, you're gonna find it in warehouse, in archive, anything. In this case, this system comes even in a mobile version, so you can put wheels, and these can move all together. It's called Mobeasy, because you move it, where here you have corridor. With Mobeasy, you can have one single corridor. So that means you're increasing 80% of your space. Mind you, even pellet trekking can be the same. So you can have pellet trekking, like I made you before, on wheels, but on special wheels, with motor, and you can move it. Where this one can be with motor or with no motor, pallet tracking, because of the weight, is with motor. You will sell that once every 10 years because it's not cheap. That one, the super build, the pallet tracking. This one, you do sell it a couple of times in a year. Okay, because you save 80%. So you know the cost of space in Malta, you know the limitations of space in Malta. So some people that say, I have a budget, they wouldn't mind going for a version that can save them a lot of space if they need it. Okay, so this system, you want it for a pantry, you want it for files, you want it for boxes, you want it for nuts, screws, bolts, anything you can imagine. We have an accessory for it. Hanging clothes, anything. Just think about it. We have an accessory. As an option, you can have a side panel to close. You can have a back panel if you want. In this case, I don't have it here, but there are, because it's already tied from the top, there are these to fix this together.
And how
Okay.
did you
What?
and how did you manage to fix them together?
Because we have the floor in this case. We have the floor. The floor is keeping everything together.
Okay.
In this case, the floor is keeping everything united together. So you have one option or the other. If you're not going to put a floor, you have to put the back to back. If you have the floor, the floor can keep it. You can even use both, but you're using more expensive for nothing. You know, you don't need it. So there are many options. This system, you can build stairs with it. Within the same system, you can build stairs. Right? So there isn't a limit. Okay, just imagine it, get the right dimensions, build it. You can make a bench, a table, a shop counter, a TV unit. Imagine it, we can build it with everything we have in stock.